All right, we're here at Prestonwood Baptist Church. Ever want to see the behind the scenes of one of the most influential churches in America? We're here with Bryan Bailey. You're the media director here. What's your title?
Director of Media.
Okay, it's just reversed.
Yeah.
That's great.
Get it right.
So, sorry.
It's okay.
It's very rude. It's fine. We're going to walk you through the background, the behind the scenes, the gear of the audio, video, and lighting portions of Prestonwood's media here. And Bryan, you're going to start with the video portion. So
let's start with it.
Take it away.
We put in a new system about 2 years ago now. It feels like it wasn't that long ago, but it was. And we went from a traditional broadcast setup, as by traditional I mean, manned camera operation, that sort of thing. And we went almost entirely robotic with our system. So one of the things to keep in mind here at Prestonwood is not only are we streaming, but we also shoot for a television show each week. So a lot of the decisions that we made regarding number of cameras, camera placement, is based on that. If we didn't do a TV show, there's a lot of things that we probably would have done differently. But just to give you an idea, all of our robotic systems are done by Mark Roberts Motion Control. So they do all of the hardware that you see. So the track, the robotic pedestal, the robotic pan tilt heads, and we have several different flavors of the gear that they have. This system that you see here is a 20-foot track, robotic pedestal with the pan tilt head. That's indicative of 3 of the cameras that we have. Other cameras are maybe just a robotic pedestal. A couple of them are just a pan tilt head. The robotics system with Mark Roberts can also control any other camera like a PTZ. So we have some PTZs as well. So our cameras are consisting of the Sony P50 for 5, 6, 7 of the cameras. And then we also have sprinkled in some of the Sony FR7s that I can show you in a second for the PTZ cameras. We like the P50s because we wanted a very low profile camera to be out here in the audience. And the downside to using a box camera like this is there's no CCU. So there's no control system down in the control room where we can get inputs and outputs and that sort of thing. So all of that is going through a multi-dyne fiber box. So each one of these camera setups that you see has a single fiber line going to it that carries all of the video information, both the HD out, the 4K out. It's carrying all of the tally information. It's carrying all of the sync information, etc. All of that is going through a single fiber line, which is part of what made this possible. One of the things that was really important to us in this room is it's not a black box. So this isn't really a room that lends itself well to just putting cameras all over the place with camera operators at them. It's not a very forgiving room for that. So we wanted something that was low profile. We wanted something that would give us better camera angles without having to completely demolish pews and set up these big camera platforms. And we wanted something that was going to give us the motion that we felt like we had been missing in what we were trying to capture. So all of our cameras now are able to give us that motion. We've got some of these cameras in new positions that we couldn't have done if there was a person standing behind this camera operating it. And it also allows us to really help the audience who's watching at home, whether that's on the stream or on the broadcast, we're extending that immersive experience out to the people who are watching remotely. So they at times feel like they're sitting with the congregation because of the angles at which we're shooting. So we've been very happy with it. It's an interesting experiment a little bit because now instead of just standing behind a camera operating it, we'll show you here in a second, we've got controls downstairs and people are operating multiple cameras at the same time. So as I mentioned, it's kind of a new paradigm with how we are operating the cameras. So down here are our 3 camera operation stations. And what's fantastic about this is any one station can actually access any of the cameras. But to make it a little bit easier on everybody, we've got presets that will just pull up the cameras that this particular station is supposed to run. So we have 9, 10 robotics in all, and so each station has been assigned 3 cameras, with the idea that one of those cameras is the main camera that they operate a lot, most of the time, and the other 2 are less important, and they can just use the matrix to recall some of the shots in there. We have a hardware control system that has the joysticks for pan, tilt, and zoom, and as well as a joystick for up and down or left and right if it's on a track or if it's on a robotic ped. We can control the speed of each one of the elements, so pan, tilt, focus, zoom, etc. And then we have a touchscreen over here where we can store shots. So these are the preset shots for the 3 cameras that this person is working on. And we can store many, many shots. So we typically have all the worship shots at the top of the matrix and all the shots for the sermon down at the bottom. One of the other elements about the Mark Roberts control system is we have auto tracking built into it. So we can set up a tracking target on there and have the camera auto follow the individual on the stage, which we use a lot. For example, the head-to-toe shot for the pastor, we basically set that shot and leave it for the rest of the sermon and go operate other cameras because it can follow it that well. One of the things that was pretty cool about this when we got into it and started figuring out what in the world we were doing is, from a volunteer perspective, the difference between training somebody to run camera on a traditional camera where they're going to be standing at this device that most of them have never touched before, they don't know anything about a camera, and we're putting them in the middle of a room with 3,000 people or more staring at the back of their head, it's very intimidating to do. There's also a lot of muscle memory that has to be developed to be able to operate it well, as opposed to down here, they sit at a control panel that has preset looks that they can select from. They've got a joystick, which most everybody has used at some point in their life. They're in a nice controlled environment down here looking at a screen, and all of our operators are lined up together so they can even talk to each other for support if they need somebody else to grab one of their cameras and do something. And it has turned out to be a really efficient and effective way to train volunteers how to run camera for people who've never done it before. Now, if you've run a camera and you're used to running a traditional camera, there's a learning curve. You're going to have to kind of get used to that a little bit. But this system has been absolutely phenomenal for us. I did want to mention what we're doing for multi-view in our monitor wall. And actually, all of the monitors that you see are routable. But we're using everts for both our routing system and for our multi-view. And part of the reason that we wanted to go with everts was we needed the flexibility. I wanted to be able to put anything anywhere in any shape, any size, adding tallies, all the things that you can do to really help that monitor wall be as effective as possible. So in here, it looks crazy, but in reality, we've just given each position, including the back row, all of the things that they need to see at any given time. So the assistant director is able to sit here and look at what's happening in Planning Center, see the wide shot of the room, monitor what's happening on Slack, and see broadcast program. The broadcast director is able to see all of our cameras and all of his other feeds. Each TD has the things that they need, etc. And that system goes to all of our screens throughout the system, including upstairs at front of house. And what's cool about it is we can take this multi-view look that we've created and we're sending it back to the router. So if I like this view for the director, it's in the router, so I can also send it up to front of house. If lighting wants that, we can record it. We like to record our multi-views along with our intercom for training purposes, which I highly recommend. That's really, really beneficial. And speaking of intercom, we did decide to go with Riedel for intercom. We had already been using their wireless product, Bolero, for a long time, and decided to go all in with Riedel so that we could access all of the cool features that come along with that. We're kind of a unique animal in this, in that we're changing the multi-view, we're changing router information, we're changing intercom information almost weekly, just because of the way that we do things. At our North Campus, we didn't really need all of that. So we went a very different direction up there, simply because it's not a television show up there. It's a smaller venue. We have a different, we can have a different mindset up there. So a lot of the things that we did here wouldn't be necessary at a lot of places. For us, there was a high value in it, so it was worth the expenditure that we had based on what that value was.
Hey, thanks so much for watching that video. We know how difficult it is to keep Sundays running at your church, and we know a lot of it is about the gear. So we want to give you an exclusive 5% additional off anything, even if we're running a sale. Even if we're running a sale, additional 5% off, grab the code in the video description below.